Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee with Kim and Hills. It's Monday, which means everyone's coming out of the weekend, which means everyone should be refreshed and ready to go.
Should be. Yes.
Should be. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It was very, mellow, which is always nice.
Yeah, we like to hear that.
Yeah. What about you?
It was pretty nice. I actually had a little date with my husband and we went to the movies.
Ooh.
And it was one of those lie down theaters.
Which did you fall asleep? I definitely would have.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny because we always watch movies at home and I'm out within 10 minutes. It's like someone's reading me a bedtime story and I'm like, But I actually didn't fall asleep. I was very proud of myself. And I think it's because we saw the new Top Gun.
Oh.
It was really good.
Was it?
It was
looks really good. I've heard from people it's really good.
Yes.
Now I'm hearing from you it's very good.
Well, and I texted my sister afterwards and I was like, I just saw it, the new, and it's so good. And no one trusts my opinion of movies because I'm a very easy critic. I'm like, that was fun. I was entertained. I like everything. I like the worst horror films. So no one trusts me. And so my sister was like, is it really good or is it chem good? And I was like, no, I think it's really good. I don't know. Anyway, she saw it. She loved it. It's great.
All right. Okay. So approved by both.
10 out of 10.
All right. Nice.
10 out of 10. But if you didn't like it, tell me why, because I want to know, because I just thought it was so great.
Yeah. I mean, everybody who I've known so far that's seen it loved it.
They loved it. Yeah. I mean, I think they did a really good job.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's awesome. Well,
yeah. Maybe my weekend.
Do it this weekend or, sometime this summer.
Yes, I recommend it. Go do it.
It does seem like it's a movie you have to see in theaters.
That is the thing. You really do. I don't know, the sound, the ambiance of it, it just takes you there and go to the lie down theater, I'm telling you. You get the food. It's a whole thing.
We'll see.
We'll see.
That would be a nap for me.
That's true. You might have to have a few espressos before you go in or something like that. Some more coffee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get started on hot topics.
Hot topics.
Okay, so this is from Wealth. 1/3 of Americans making $250,000 live paycheck to paycheck, a survey finds.
Yeah, so this was an interesting news story that came up a little bit over a week ago, and I think it's just funny how it got blown up. I don't know.
Because the people not making $250,000.
Right.
And you're like, oh, are you?
Right. And that's exactly why there was this pushback on it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's just going to say, I think part of it is that inflation is affecting everybody at every kind of level.
Right.
One of the things
and if their expenses are higher,
right,
that means they've only gotten higher for them as well.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the things that it also points out a couple times, not just once, is that people in this tax bracket, which is only 5% of people, are not destitute. They are able to fully pay their bills. It's a very different story.
Other aspects of inflation aren't affecting them the same, like gas prices and grocery prices and things like that. Right?
It's not as egregious or as possibly, financially straining as other spectrums or other people on the earning spectrum. But
which is proven because they said one of their ways of, maintaining their lifestyle is just putting it on a credit card, trusting that they can just pay that off in full.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a different way of being able to do things than a lot of people, of course. But it does show that even if you're making a decent amount of money, these price hikes are affecting everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and I think one of the examples that they talk about too is, the average home price in Orange County used to be for high income people was $1.2 million. This is pre-pandemic prices. It is now 1.7, which means that
that's a jump.
Yeah, you're paying $100,000 on your mortgage every year, which is about 40% of your paycheck.
Yeah.
So, it definitely is affecting everybody. Now, do you need a $1.7 million house? I don't know. That is up to.
I mean, some people genuinely believe they do, and you should. Hey,
you do you.
You do you. No judgment on ROI TV. Okay, so on the flip side, a separate survey released by the Federal Reserve found overall improvement in the financial well-being of households since the pandemic because of stimulus aid and surging prices in assets like houses and stocks, which I've seen as well. My neighbor, she's been living in her house forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And she was like, now is the time. I'm just going to sell it now. And and she's an older woman. She's living by herself. And she knew she was going to move eventually because all of her children had grown up. Like she didn't need to be paying the taxes anymore in that area. Let's be honest. And she said, I think now is the time. And I think it was up like $100,000 than it was just 2 years ago. Wow. Like at market price. Yeah.
Wow. Has it sold yet?
Oh, it sold immediately. Immediately. Like, and this house needed work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because my husband and I are nosy. We went and had a look at it.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's called comp shopping. It's fine.
Yeah. And it was it was very comparable to our house and the condition our house is in. Same number of bathrooms, bedrooms, pretty much identical. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it went for a lot more than what we got our house for. Thank goodness we got ours when we did. But yeah, so she was, she made a decent profit off of that.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So hey, there's always the flip side. We like to look at the bright side of things too. It's not always about inflation, okay?
I do think one of the things that they pointed out too in the Federal Reserve survey was that 1 in 9 Americans still cannot pay for a $400, not 400,000, but $400 emergency expense.
Yeah.
Without financial hardship. So although many people are in a much better place, and certainly not the people who are earning $250,000 a year, but there are still a lot of Americans who, aren't in that position. So, I think there's certainly a spectrum, and making sure that we are taking that into account. And I think that's one of the reasons why we started ROI TV, was to give financial information to all spectrums, because there's definitely things that you can do or things that you can hope to do with your money in order to alleviate some of that financial stress.
Especially when things like this happen. We have a global pandemic strike, and then the inflation. I mean, this whole thing, I think right now gas is, as I'm sure everyone's noticed, is now over $5 where I live, at least. Mm-hmm. And where my mom lives and where my dad lives. Well, it seems like it's in a lot of places right now. And even today I went to, fill up the tank, and I had a quarter of a tank full, and it cost almost $60 to do 3/4 of a tank.
Yeah.
It used to be around $30 just to fill the entire tank. So I'm like, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's hurting. We feel your pain. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back with some more really fun hot topics. Welcome back, everyone. All right, the next topic that we are going to talk about is from The Hill. 60% of student loan borrowers made no payments during the pandemic freeze.
It's quite a bit.
That is quite a bit. And the freeze began, so this is how long it's been. The freeze began March 2020 and has now been extended through August 31st. Mm-hmm. So that's a long time.
It's a very long time not to make any payments.
Yes, it is.
In fact, it's 11.5 million people.
Yeah.
With over 400 billion in student loan debt. Yeah. Right. It's a lot of money.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, of that, there are 8.8 million borrowers who made at least one payment during the pandemic.
Yes.
And are in a better position, apparently, to resume payments after the freeze is lifted. So they're just because they made at least one payment, it's predicted that they're going to be more likely to. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think, there were like 8.8 million who made payments. Some of them made monthly payments because you might as well try and pay off, if you can, some of the principal while while you can.
Right.
But there are other areas of the financial spectrum where it's showing that there's more financial distress for the people who haven't started paying.
Of course. Yeah.
Like they're behind on house payments and credit card payments, and credit cards.
It kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Are higher. So, there's unfortunately.
Yeah. You hope it's not for everyone, but apparently, you're just a little more likely.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. We'll see. Biden is working to cancel $10,000 in debt for borrowers who earn $150,000 a year, and for married borrowers who earn less than $300,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Yeah,
I mean, it was one of his campaign issues, or things on the campaign trail, and who knows if it ever comes to fruition. It's certainly been batted around the news here and there.
Totally.
But we'll see.
I'm sure a lot of students, though, are crossing their fingers and are hopeful that it does.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like most students aren't bringing in over that amount, that cap. So I think it probably would alleviate some stress for a lot of people. So we'll see what happens.
We shall see.
We shall see.
And we'll let you know as soon as it does.
As soon as it does. But I can't wait for the next topic. So we're just going to slide right on into it.
I like it.
All right. Let's just get to it. What is a DINK?
Do you know?
Here's what it's like to be a couple that revels in having dual income, no kids. DINK, get it? Dual income, no kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is from Yahoo News. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, this is a whole community of people, of very proud people that have established a way of life that feels right for them. And I'm all about it.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody has to or should have kids.
No.
I mean, it's a personal choice. I think it's a personal choice to have kids and to not have kids. You choose your own adventure in life, and you don't have to have kids to have a family.
Yes. And there's, societal norms that come into play that are just annoying and outdated, I think, at this point. But
sure.
Because it's true, the second you're sometimes just dating someone for a while, but definitely when you get married,
right.
The first question is, so when are you having kids?
Right.
And even I was kind of oh, come on. I knew I wanted to have children, but being asked that question, there's so many unknowns as well.
Right.
It's just an inappropriate question to ask.
I got asked that on my wedding day by people at the reception, and you're just
tonight's the night.
Haven't this has just happened. Less than 5 hours old. And this is okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get why I think this group of people are very proud about this title.
Yeah.
And I think they feel like they need to be as well, because they are fighting against these
societal pressures.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think it is different living on the coast probably than some people who might live a little bit more in Midwest or Middle America, where, on the coast it isn't that surprising when your friend is no, I'm not having kids. I had multiple friends by the age of 25 were I'm not having kids.
Yes.
And you're okay, cool.
Yeah. Most everyone I grew up with from the Midwest, because I'm from Michigan, they had kids many, many years ago. I definitely started late in comparison to everyone from the Midwest. But that was always what I wanted to do. That was my story. And then a ton of my friends, my age, are just choosing for themselves not to. And it's to each their own, right?
And I think it's a very big financial decision too.
Yes.
The most recent data is that a child born in 2015, so not even more but recent than that.
Right.
Parents are expected to spend over $233,000 on that child while you're raising them.
Hey.
So, kids are a
just
time
started
investment.
Pregnant with my second. Just doing the math over here. Pregnant with my second one.
I mean, they're a financial investment commitment as well as a time and energy commitment as well.
Yes.
Totally worth it in my opinion, but that's because I'm
a mother.
But I can understand why people wouldn't want to have kids.
Yeah, I know. I can too. I know. Hopefully it'll just become a little less of a stigma around like not having children and being in relationships and whatever.
But one of the things too is that Jay Zygmunt, who is quoted in the article as being a financial advisor who actually specializes in DINKs, because there's more and more
DINKs out there.
DINKs out there. And he thinks that it's going to continue to grow as our generations get older.
Yeah.
So
that's
there you
so
go.
interesting. It's
more DINKs out there.
It's a term I've never heard of, and I'm not proud of the fact that I haven't. I want to be up with the times.
But as we've learned before, Kim doesn't really like acronyms all that much.
No, I don't.
No,
I don't. But I like dual income, no kids. Cute. Love it. Now I get it. But DINK is kind of just a funny name. I mean, we've just been saying it all day on set before we even started. I was like, DINK. Anyway, we had to end with the DINKs.
We did.
All right. So enough talk about DINKs. We are going to take a commercial break, and then we will be right back to talk about the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to remind you not to miss today's episodes of Your Money, Your Wealth, ETF Stories, and Life's Third Act. You can catch them all on the wonderful ROI TV. But where can you find them specifically?
On Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android.
Oh gosh, I see. I gave her the hard part every day. It's not fair, really, is it?
I've got it down.
You do. You have it down. I'm very impressed. Anyway, thank you for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kim and Hills. We will see you tomorrow with another big old cup of coffee.